House of the Dragon Season 3 finale just came out, and it's definitely one of the better episodes in this season, but it doesn't feel like a finale whatsoever. And again, the fight choreography is this show's Achilles heel, as well as not entirely following George R.R. Martin's books that this story originated from. And in this video, I will be reviewing the finale of Season 3 and the entire season overall. Also, please be warned, there will be major spoilers in this video, so this is your warning. Be warned. The finale mostly follows Rhaenyra and her rule as she makes changes as queen and pushes for her coronation, while Daemon is living out his dreams, helping Rhaenyra throughout the realm, defending her honor, in which in this episode it's Tumbleton, where a big epic battle occurs from all the built tension throughout the season. Yes, other things happen, such as Aegon's encounter with sad and confused Aemon, and also Daeron getting knighted, but it's mostly Rhaenyra and Daemon's finale. The positives in this episode was Rhaenyra and Daemon's conversation in the beginning. They always work well off of each other, and in general throughout the entire show, they are some of the best aspects, especially when they speak in High Valyrian. And in this episode, Rhaenyra still thinks that she can change the way people view her, and thinks that she's still meant to rule from the gods themselves. It adds great tension in her fight for the throne, and I know that she's queen, but it seems only temporary, and she's only grasping for what she is losing in front of her very eyes. And in this universe in general, everything is temporary. It's always been fun to watch Emma Darcy act her ass off in this show as Rhaenyra Targaryen, and Matt Smith as Daemon has always been an intriguing character in this show, and that just needs to be stated. The dragon fights will always be the best aspect of this show in my opinion, but sadly I believe that because they are so costly and take time to CGI that they're limited, and that's why we don't get full episode battles anymore. The Hightowers being the entertaining counterparts to Team Rhaenyra has always made it fun to choose sides for this show, so that just needs to be mentioned regardless of how much I want them to
Hey! Get out of here! Go on! Get the hell out of here!
The quality of sets and costume designs also need to be mentioned because all the armor feels real, the quality between each set of soldiers feel real, the characteristic to each group of armies are unique and different, the sets feel real and lived in, and with the costume and set design looking so well like they do in this show, then so does my belief in this world. Most shows get this wrong, and in doing so can easily point out that it's just a costume and another random actor. Given that this episode is the finale, you'd expect that there would not be so many, if any, issues at all, but since that this is House of the Dragon post season 1, there's going to be issues. And one major flaw is how they handle moments in this show, and in general. It just doesn't feel as impactful as they can be, and it's a bit all over the place, entirely in seasons 2 and 3 though. Some examples I'll give, specifically in this episode, include when the piles of wood collapse between Daemon and the Hightower lad, Sir John. Daemon simply just scoots back a little bit, and he narrowly survives this dangerous and sudden destruction of these piles of wood, and you could just clearly tell like that they're super thin and cheap looking, and Daemon didn't have to narrowly make it out alive, you know, it was just lightly scooting back with some smoke coming out his face. Helena's death being quite sudden, in my opinion, they just didn't show enough of her descent towards this path that she took, which is essentially suicide. Apparently in the books, Helena commits suicide because of the death of her other child, Maelor, in which he tries to flee disguised with a guard to help him out, but the crowd notices him, and in doing so, they essentially rip him apart, trying to collect his body for a bounty ransom. And with such a brutal death of her own child, that I could understand would drive her to suicide, and that sort of impact just wasn't there with this show, other than the amazing acting that these actors give. throughout these performances. I would have loved to see that moment specifically. I think it would have made this season a lot more impactful and a lot more meaningful towards the finale of what we got. And it just would have been much better to see that instead of Helena dissenting to suicide because she's locked in a room. The impact isn't there with the show other than the amazing acting all these actors are doing. They're literally holding this show on their back. And another example, but in this season rather than this episode, of how they handled these moments wrong is Alice Rivers teleporting across the 7 realms to speak very important sentences to very important pieces of the chessboard. Back in season 2 at the least, she felt mysteriously powerful and untrustworthy. Now she's just around the corner with the new sentence of the day. The fight choreography I will bash again. It's all basic, overreacted swings with more cuts in between the action, so it's a choppy watch with bad choreography. Even if I did get the option to see this in its entirety, it still would have been bad because of the fight choreography. Damon shouldn't even be at Thumbleton in general, let alone away from his dragon. I looked it up and it wasn't even a thing in the books that Damon was in this battle. So the whole final boss fight that he had with Sir John and going into the battle head first without his dragon, that was all done by the writers of this show, reminding us why George R.R. Martin is a better writer than them, and sticking to his material just works best for these shows that were written by his work. For this episode, as a finale, I am just quite disappointed personally, and I expected a lot more. So for that, I'm going to give this episode a solid 6 out of 10. I don't really like rating specific episodes personally, unless they're an absolute 10 out of 10 or if they're utter dog poop. But I do know that as for finales, it just didn't feel like one at all. However, this season as a whole was far better than season 2, with way more moments that mattered, more battles, more death, actions were happening compared to the little amount that happened in season 2, but it still has that feeling of little to no impact compared to what it had in season 1. And I think it's because of the script going off of what George R.R. Martin gave them in his books, and instead doing what they want to do over George R.R. Martin. We've seen this already with Game of Thrones and later with season 2 of House of the Dragon. And if I was the writers themselves, I would have asked for forgiveness by now and listened to what George R.R. Martin would have wanted me to do. And I'm positive that he would have actually helped them out. But given how writers are nowadays, they think that they could do better than the original creators themselves. And for the record, it can be done and adaptations can be different and still work. But on average, it's just best to stick to the material. And for these writers, we've seen how well they do on their own in season 2, and it's definitely nowhere near George R.R. Martin's level, but it definitely isn't as bad as David Benioff and D.B. Wise's level in Game of Thrones. For this season, out of 10, I would give it probably a 7. I really do enjoy the good writing in this show, like the set design and costume design. The actors working on this show really pull through with what they're given, and without them I probably would have stopped watching this show entirely, but I come back for the good in this show. The bad really does make me constantly beg for the quality that we got in season 1, and I think it might be that way sadly for the rest of this show. And we probably also have to wait another 3 to 4 years for season 4.
Yes! Yes!
This show was at its peak with season 1, in my opinion, an absolute 10 out of 10 season with super impactful moments, and for some reason the writers decided to hop on their own timeline, and it's clearly not as good as the original. This show sadly keeps getting worse to me because of how amazing the first season was, with which I'm using to constantly compare to seasons 2 and 3. I'm just very thankful for A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, but I'm going to rate House of the Dragons, the entire show so far, a 6.5 out of 10. It's going to be better than your average show these days, but not the best content out there, especially for Game of Thrones content. So what did you guys think? What were your favorite moments in this season? For me, it was the Battle of the Gullet, Rhaenyra killing Otto Hightower, Rhaenyra's descent into madness, Aegon the Reborn, and the dragons, of course. Leave your thoughts down below, what you thought of this season and this show entirely. There's just something off about it, but thankfully we have a Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. Don't forget to like and subscribe. The more comments you have down below, the more I get to speak with you guys and get to hear your opinions. So please do so. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care and God bless.